Welcome to Kava and Kettlebells, where we talk about kava, fitness, and life. Let's get kavafied.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Kava and Kettlebells. This is Charles.
Hey guys, this is Heidi. Thank you so much for tuning back in. If you haven't already, please take 5 seconds and go ahead and like, subscribe, and share with your friends and family. If you've been following us, you know that we do not monetize off this. We do not have advertisers. We really rely on you guys sharing and liking, subscribing, and really helping us get this message out. You can also follow us on Instagram and news. We just created a TikTok. So follow us at Kava_Kettlebells on both. And again, share with your friends and family. Really help us get this message out. All right, so we are excited. Our first YouTube episode. What?
Come on. It's taken us, what, 2 years?
Yep.
2.5 years or 2 years?
2 years. So we're going on a little over 2 years. So thank you for our listeners who have really encouraged us to just really push for YouTube. We're excited to just hopefully reach more listeners. And if you are new, we are just going to introduce ourselves this episode and talk about, why we started this podcast and what, we've just really enjoyed seeing it grow and just kind of go from there.
I'll go off of what Heidi says. So again, everyone who's new to the podcast, really appreciate you tuning in. Like Heidi said, if you like it, if you like Kava, if you like fitness, if you like just looking at our faces, hit subscribe, give us a like. Like she said as well, we are on social media, so please follow us there. Additionally, we have been doing this podcast for just over 2 years now. So if you go to Spotify, iTunes, you'll see a whole collection, over 100 episodes over the past 2 years. And what we prioritize is we focus on talking all things Kava. We do talk about other botanicals and fitness. So what that means is we have people from the Kava space, whether it's Kava bar owners, vendors, we have fitness enthusiasts in here, all kinds of stuff. So really for us, this is a lifestyle. This is a lifestyle that we've lived for a while. And we'll kind of get into why we did the podcast. It was actually Heidi's idea. So
I'm the brains.
I'm not taking any credit for it.
I'm not just the beauty, I'm the brains.
But we just kind of wanted to bring this to you all. And we felt now was the time to bring it to YouTube because we do want to reach a different audience. So if you're brand new, you can listen to our audio. And if you're an audio listener, just now, join us on the YouTube journey, see what you like. Sometimes I like to watch people, sometimes I'm in the car, and I like to do audio. So that's why we're trying to give you all both.
Yeah, so we like to start each episode with our workout of the day. So we will kind of take you through, what we worked out today, and we'll go from there. So today I did good old back and biceps, and I did a little bit of some bicep curls, some classic lat pull downs, some bent over rows. I also like to do what I call waiter curls, the ones where you some people call them a closed grip curl, and some hammer curls. And yeah, I think and some pull-ups. Got to have some pull-ups in there.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, so you didn't do deadlifts though, right?
No, I do not do deadlifts on back day. I do deadlifts on leg day. So
that's where I digress.
We are house divided.
We are house divided. I do deadlifts on back day. When Heidi does her back day, I don't see her doing deadlifts.
No, I do it on leg day. Got to grow the glutes.
All right, I respect that. So today for me, speaking of glutes, I did hit my glutes today. Today was leg day for me. So what that meant was usually I like to warm up. I like to do a lot of kind of like stretching type exercises. So what that means is usually body weight lunges. Then I go into weighted lunges. And then I kind of like to pre-exhaust my quads before I hit squats. So what I like to do is I'll do a little bit of extensions for my quads. I'll do a little hamstring extensions. And then I'll go do my working sets of squats. Right now, I just kind of work up right now, usually till about 315, maybe 335 on squats. So I like to go for kind of more reps, kind of more for that hypertrophy range. And then usually kind of cool down from there, hit my calves. And then I did sled pushes today.
Yeah, I did help with sled pushes. I hopped on theirs, add a little extra resistance for him. And
yeah,
that's about it.
It's a nice view for me too.
Yeah, there you go.
It's motivation when I'm pushing that sled.
So that is our workout of the day. But yeah, we are Charles and Heidi. So we are married. We're husband and wife. We've been married for 12 and a half years now. we knew each other in elementary school, so we might touch on that in an episode. But we have the yearbook from 5th grade, and Charles, colored all over my face in the yearbook, which means he loved me, obviously, from a very young age. And we went our separate ways, went to different districts, and then we met again in college. And yeah, we just kind of hit it off, and we got married right away. Charles was in ROTC. He joined the Air Force, and that's kind of where we started our journey.
Yeah. So we're also parents. So for those of you out there watching, it is possible to drink kava, have a good time, other things, and exercise while raising the family. So we do have 2 girls, ages 10 and 8. So they're part of our lifestyle. They're kind of up with it. But yeah, going back to what Heidi said, so we've been together for a while. And one thing is, for me, fitness has always been a massive part of my life.
I always say Charles was my OG trainer. I was not into fitness when we were dating. I supported him though. I said, you do you, I support you, but I don't want to do it.
Yeah. So, when we first started dating, I was really into fitness, just kind of like a classical meathead. But in college, like how you did say, I was in Air Force ROTC. So I was prepping to get ready to go, to active duty once I graduated and got my commission into the Air Force. So even like with the military, all that kind of stuff, like fitness is kind of, encouraged, is kind of expected. So for me, I've always been into kind of like my fitness routine, right? And, even though Heidi wasn't at first, even going into the beginning of our marriage, she always supported my fitness.
Yeah.
She understood the lifestyle.
And I understood, the importance of that. I understood that it was important both physically and mentally. And I was active in high school, although I hate people who are like, when I ask, when's the last time you worked out? Oh, well, when I was in high school.
And you catfished me when we first started talking.
You
catfished. Remember that picture you sent me? You're like, oh, I'm going running on the track.
Oh my gosh, yes, I would. Yes, so I always say the way that I won Charles' heart is we're in college and we don't have a lot of money, but we had if as a freshman you have, ours is called M&G dollars, but you have money on your account to buy food and stuff. And I would buy him protein bars and milk because he's bulking. And then when we first started dating, I would tell him oh, I'm going for a run.
She sent me pictures.
We were talking that winter break.
She not the kind of pictures you guys are thinking of. All right. So she would send me pictures of her in her workout outfit. And be like, oh, I'm going to the track tonight. I'm like, oh, this girl's fit.
Because
she's getting the track.
I knew he was into that. So I was like, let me make him think I am too. And so I'd take my picture and I would not go to the track and I would not run.
But so I guess some of our story even kind of goes back to college when we started dating together. Obviously for most people, in the early 20s, whether you're in college or not, that's kind of your time where you're going to the bars, you're going to parties and all that kind of stuff. And, for me, even going back to high school, I wasn't really into drinking. I was kind of more into
the trees.
Yeah. I loved, trees. I love going out and, smelling them and lighting them on fire,
lighting them up,
wrapping them up in certain things, and so that was more kind of my thing. Right. Yeah. So even alcohol for me going to college wasn't that big piece of my life. We did it. And then I would say that once we, So
I'll say for me, it was different. In high school, I definitely, I did drink. I drank a lot, and I probably drank more in high school than I did in college. Sorry, Mom, Dad, for, watching this. But I was not into, smoking or anything at all. And so drinking was all I really knew. You did it freshman year, but after that, it gets old. And then Charles was in ROTC and he had to be up super early. So it wasn't a lifestyle that we could really do anymore.
So we did, we started dating as freshmen, and then like I said, because Air Force ROTC, just in my school schedule, my work schedule, all that stuff, and still really kind of getting more into fitness in college, I started finding that alcohol was just not conducive to my lifestyle. If I needed to wake up early, at 5, 6 a.m. to go hit the gym, and if I was out the night before, drinking, or even just having a couple drinks. Even back then, I started noticing that, my sleep was affected. My diet the next day would be off because, when you drink alcohol, obviously the next day, hungover, you start craving different types of foods that might not be on your normal diet.
All the
donuts, all that kind of stuff, right? And I just, even then, started finding alcohol wasn't a big piece. So fast forward a little bit, we leave college. I go back to do the Air Force.
Immediately. He didn't even get to walk at his college graduation because he commissioned the next day. And
we had to be on the road.
Yeah, we entered the world of the Air Force.
So my career, I went in as a combat systems officer. And I don't like this analogy, but if you see...
I don't like this analogy.
it's the only way to describe it to people, right? So if you've seen the movie Top Gun, now they're the Navy, but in Top Gun, you have Maverick, or who's the new movie Top Gun? Who?
I don't even know. I'm not a Top Gun fan, so I know that's a big people hate that, but I hate Tom Cruise. I hate Top Gun.
But regardless, so Top Gun, the backseater Goose.
Yeah.
That's what I was trained as on the Air Force side. So I went to flight school right after college. Obviously, Heidi was with me, and we had our first kid. So
yeah, we got pregnant. Didn't necessarily plan to, but we got pregnant. Very soon after.
Got pregnant, or you got pregnant?
Well, you got me pregnant. It's a team effort. It takes two to tango. So then, we weren't really expecting that, but it was a blessing. But as you know, for our listeners who are parents, when you have kids, your whole life changes. And especially when it comes to kids, they don't care how late you stayed up. They don't care what you drank that night. They're still going to be up at a certain time. And drinking definitely was out the window at that point, drinking alcohol.
Yeah. And at that point, we were still kind of drinking here and there, if we go to parties. And
especially being in the military, drinking is huge.
It's
in
massive.
The military.
Drinking in the military, especially in Air Force aviation culture, is a massive, massive piece of the culture. All of our squadrons, so inside the actual, where we go work, there's full bars. There's a full bar in the squadron. And it's kind of expected, especially on Fridays, we have a thing called roll call. And you go to roll call on the Friday after the work week. And, it's just part of the culture that you drink.
And it's cool. It's a great, camaraderie thing. Everyone is, having fun. They're excited, talking about the week and the weekend. So it's not to hate on that, but, it was just something that when Charles would go to those, he could never really participate in, or he chose not to participate in actually drinking the alcohol.
Yeah. And a lot of that too was because, again, I started getting more and more into understanding nutrition, lifting. At that point, I was really kind of getting into just, all right, how do I really perform at the best way I can? And I wasn't competing for anything like that or, doing bodybuilding like that. I just wanted to look the best I could.
And feel the best.
Feel the best I could. So I started, realizing all right, alcohol for sure has to leave the lifestyle. And the more I kind of researching into it, and that's kind of also a time when biohacking was becoming kind of popular. So you had guys Ben Greenfield out there who were putting a lot of info out there. I used to follow his stuff and just kind of started realizing that this probably is not going to be part of my lifestyle. But I was still thinking man, it'd be nice to have something, in the evening after we put the girls down to relax and, have a good time. And obviously, when you're in the military, you get drug tested. So my pastime of, playing around with trees wasn't an option.
Yeah, couldn't chop the trees anymore. So
no. And so I was looking around and I'm like, okay, what else is there out there that's legal, that's not going to affect my sleep, that's not going to affect my gains in the gym, my progress, all this stuff, but it's still going to make me kind of feel good. And, I remember kind of looking at different things out there and, and just kind of, poking around, and I came across Kava. And I remember I was gone on a TDY, so it's a temporary duty. I was at a training thing for a month. and I stumbled upon Kava. I was reading about it.
I remember you telling me about it, yeah. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
and I went to a vitamin shop in the city, and I didn't know anything about Kava. So I went, because I Googled it, and I was like, all right, where can I get Kava? And that was in Montgomery, Alabama at the time, which where we ended up living.
Ironically is where we just moved from, yeah.
So it goes full circle. But so I go to a vitamin shop, and I'm like, is there Kava here? And I used to work at a vitamin shop too. In college, I worked at a vitamin shop. I never remember seeing Kava. And so I go in there, I'm looking around, and I found the Kava capsules. And I take them back to my dorm room, wherever I was at the time.
Down the mall. No, I don't know.
Well, so I started taking them, and I'm like, I don't feel anything. And I remember, like, I tried it for a couple of days, and I was like, this is, I don't know. I'm just going to wait till I got out of the military so that I could go back to, doing what I do. But then I started looking more into it. I started reading, about these things called Kava bars and seeing how they prepared the drink. And then kind of actually researching more into Kava and understanding that, this was something in the Pacific Islands that's been part of their culture for hundreds and hundreds of years. And they would drink this kava root in ceremonies, and they would open them up, it would relax them. And I kept on reading that it's an alcohol alternative that makes you feel good. And I remember talking to Heidi, I was like, I got the capsules, I didn't feel anything. And we were getting ready for a trip to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember.
So at this point, we had never tried like the drinking.
No.
I had never tried any of it. Charles had tried the capsules and didn't feel anything, but he was doing more research, and we were about to go to Miami. It was our first trip without our kids. So that was like really exciting for us. And we found a Kava bar that was going to be in Miami. It was Purple Lotus. And we're like, all right, let's try it out. So
we went, and if you listen to, we have a whole episode on this.
An audio episode.
If you go back to our audio episode. First experience at Kava bar.
We'll do another one for YouTube, but
it
was. We definitely felt stuff, but they were just.
We felt it,
but wasn't necessarily the best Kava experience. They were just kind of slinging us stuff, weren't really educating us on what we were drinking, and we felt it. So we knew there was something there, but it wasn't the best experience. So we wanted to retry it, wanted to take it in our own hands and figure out how we could make this a good experience, for our life.
And also, too, we went to the Kava bar. We also had another botanical, which we're not going to talk about right now, but it begins with a K.
Ends with an M.
And it rhymes with Tatum.
Sure, yeah, you can say that.
Okay. But the Kava tender was giving us a lot of that Tatum botanical as well.
Yeah.
You also might hear it be called elixir when you go to Kava bars.
And we'll do more episodes on that, but it's not something, if you've never had either one of them, you should not mix them on your first try. And
we did. And I was feeling really good.
We did. We felt good.
It felt great.
We felt good. There was something there. And
but then the Uber home, I started feeling nauseous. I was having a good time. I was like looking out the window. I was like, I'm in Miami, man. Like, I'm having a good time.
We always play the game whenever we're in new places. We always play the game. Like, when we're filthy rich millionaires and we have like 7 houses everywhere, where will all our houses be? And so he was like, there's that, like, there's going to be one of our houses. And I'm like, don't talk to me. I'm going to throw up. And I didn't. And so it was fine. We had a good experience. But
and I was feeling good because I'm like, we're about to go back to the hotel. I'm like, I'm feeling good.
No kids.
It's time to go, go get busy. So Heidi had to kind of, come down a little bit from the experience before that. Preface saying that, don't worry. We have episodes on Kava and sex that'll be coming down the line. We also have them
lots
on
of
audio,
teasers going on.
But that experience showed us the plants did something. I was like, all right, there's something to this.
Yeah.
So there's a spot where you can go hang out with people. You can drink this plant that makes you feel good and sociable and rewinds you. And I was like, all right, like it clicked that day. And
we need this, in our life.
And from that moment on, like we just dove research into Kava, all the different types, the cultivars of Kava, everything that you can do with the plant, how you prepare it, ways to ingest it, the history behind it. And then really from that moment on, it became something where we were drinking kava
like every night. Every night. That was our thing is, we'd put the girls down and we would make kava, we'd drink kava and just talk and cook and hang out. And that was just our evenings, and it was great. And that's another thing that is huge about kava that was so important to us is being present with your children. I can't stand, the line back Wednesdays and all the things with the moms. Like, yeah, being a mom is hard, especially if you're, I was a stay-at-home mom for 5 years, and it's challenging and you need something at the end of the day to like unwind. But when you're drinking alcohol, like you're not able to be present with your kids. And that is what was so amazing about kava is I could get that come down. I could still enjoy my kids and not be like upset and angry with them. And if you're a parent, you get it. Like you get it at the end of.
It's okay to get upset with your kids.
Yes, okay. You've been with them all day and it can be rough. But I was able to drink kava, be joyful and happy, enjoy my children's presence, and not have a hangover. And then I could sleep well and I could wake up well and not have a hangover. And yeah, it was amazing. We, rewind a little bit. I also became a personal trainer. So Charles was on his first deployment. Our oldest daughter was about 18 months old. And
back in like 2015.
Yeah. And that's when I was first sort of introduced to strength training. And I remember asking him and I was like, Charles, can I join a Gold's Gym? And he's like, yes, like I've been waiting our whole relationship for this. So he came back from that first deployment and he taught me, he introduced me to weights, and it changed my life. Like it changed my life physically. Yeah, I was always really tiny. My journey has always been one of growth. For the first time in my life, I was putting on muscle. I was gaining a little caboose and, things were good. And it changed me mentally as well. It was really just like the emotional outlet, especially being a parent, having a place to go when things are stressful and crazy. It just really changed my life. And that's when I decided to become a personal trainer. So fitness has now become a lifestyle for both of us, for our family. And that is just another reason why Kava just fit in so perfectly with our life.
Yeah. And this is a lot to digest in the first episode, kind of like the story of our kind of life. But like Heidi was saying, she got into fitness, my first deployment, and she used that as an outlet when I was gone. And then, from there, it was something that we enjoyed together. We would go to the gym together. And, it's one of those things, those kind of rituals you build with your partner and your family, right? And so for us, fitness, became such a backbone of what we did in our lifestyle. So with that, it's, what you're eating, what you're putting in your body, what you're consuming every day. And when we did find Kava, it meshed so perfectly. And that's why we do Kava and Kettlebells, because it's not just a non-alcoholic beverage that makes you feel good, but for those in a fitness lifestyle, a wellness lifestyle, anywhere from someone like me who's a meathead, just likes to sling weights around, to a CrossFitter,
to someone who does yoga or likes to hike, like anyone who has any sort of physical priority and mental priority in their life, it just makes sense.
It does. And we found that, Kava, it not only made us feel good, and obviously, you want something that makes you feel good, and that's why you drink it, especially at the end of the day, right? You rewind. But we noticed too that when we drank Kava, we would sleep better, we would recover faster, and it just made it even more so like, oh my gosh, like this is something that we can enjoy for, socializing and for relaxing, but like this, no crap has like recovery benefits to it. And that's one thing we tout all the time, and we have episodes on, is Kava can be a great post-exercise recovery tool. And I think it's becoming more popular in the fitness community because not only, do we know that alcohol ruins your fitness journey, but some of these plants And, things like cannabis, yes, that's can be great for sleep, can be great for anxiety relief. But kava is completely legal. You can buy kava on Amazon, guys.
That's where we get most of our kava is, Amazon.
It's sold as a dietary supplement. So it's readily available. There's no legalities around it. It makes you feel great. And it meshes so well with the healthy lifestyle and for anyone involved in fitness.
Yeah. So that is why we started this podcast. So like I said, we would make kava and we would just hang out in the evenings. We'd, unwind and we would just talk, and we'd talk about fitness, and we'd talk about my work and his work. And one day I was like, we just need to record this and make this a podcast. And so we did. And we were in Alabama. So for those of you who don't know, we live in Southwest Florida right now. We just moved here at the end of June. So we've been here for about 6 months. And before that, we were in Alabama, and where ironically there are no kava bars or anything, but that's what we do. We would, record episodes in our closet and then.
And so to give context, so we're from Arizona. We're from Phoenix, Arizona. We met at Arizona State, went to the military. We moved to Florida, Pensacola for a year. Then we went to Nebraska, Omaha. We were there for about 3 years. Moved back to Arizona.
Southern Arizona in Tucson.
And then there we started going to a kava bar. So shout out to the Tucson kava bar. That was like our OG kava bar that we would go to.
Yeah.
Like our girls had like their birthdays there. They asked to go there.
Kava bars are just it's such a family friendly, welcoming place. It's not like a normal bar. Like if you've been to a normal, alcoholic bar, it's awkward. Like it's awkward. You have to have your friends. And if you're there and your friends aren't there yet, it's awkward. It's like, who do I talk to? And then some weirdo starts talking to you and you're like, don't talk to me. Like you're weird. And that's not like a kava bar. A kava bar is just.
And as I say, if you're a guy at a bar, you're kind of always on the edge because you're like, oh, like who's
going to start a fight with me?
Who's going to start something? It's not what a kava bar is.
No.
Kava bar is a completely different space.
So welcoming, so friendly. Like I said, we bring our kids to kava bars. You meet great people. Kava opens you up. Kava, it's weird, but when you drink it, you'll understand. It makes you talkative. And especially for those who might have like social anxiety, it is such a great tool for them to be able to be the person they wanted to be. We interviewed on one episode, Kava Hana, and she said it lets me be my real self. And like, that's what Kava is. And so it's just an amazing community that, we found. We wanted to create a platform to share that. We wanted to make that more mainstream. We wanted to normalize it. It's not like this weird fringe thing. It's normal. It's awesome. And we just wanted to share that. So that is why we started Kava and Kettlebells. And we also wanted to create, a platform for kava bars and small businesses to be able to share their products and, get information out to people and spread the word.
Yeah. And just going back, so we were back in Southern Arizona, we're in Tucson. Then we moved to Alabama for my last assignment in the military. And
we've been all over the place.
That's where we started the podcast, is in Alabama. So those of you who've been following us from the beginning, that's where we started our journey, was in good old central Alabama. And then I just got out of the military, this summer, doing our own thing now. So we chose to come down to Florida. Honestly, because of the weather. Being straight up.
You heard we've been all over. We've done Nebraska. We've done the hard winters. We survived, and we do not want to ever do that again.
So we were like, where can we go that's warm year round? And also, it's really nice being down here in Florida because
it's the mecca
of kava. So if you've ever been to Florida, if you're planning a trip to Florida, just know that per capita, in the United States, Florida has the most kava bars. So you can go find kava bars across the country right now. They're becoming way more popular. They've been booming, actually, the amount of kava bars. But Florida still takes the cake as far as how many kava bars there are. So it was a nice plus coming down here too, because now we have access to a lot of kava bars.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because, again, we've been doing Kava and Kettlebells, just the audio version. So we've been doing podcast episodes for over 2 years now. And the chunk of that time was when we lived in Alabama. and there are no kava bars in Alabama. So it was just kind of funny.
Our house was our
house was our kava bar, but we were not too far from Florida. You could be at Orange Beach in about 2 hours. So we would try and get away as often as we could to Florida anyways, just to enjoy, the beaches and the kava.
Yeah. So kind of type this first episode, guys. Again, if you're new with us, really appreciate you sticking through and hearing our story. Our whole concept, like Heidi mentioned, is we talk all things kava, fitness, other botanicals, but our main goal too is to spotlight people in the space. So namely, small brands, up and coming brands in the kava community, botanical community, anything of that nature, right? Fitness as well too. So we're kind of like, again, it's a lifestyle for us, and we really hope to bring that lifestyle to you all. So again, thank you so much. Please subscribe, follow us on the social media so you can, kind of see more of our reviews, our daily stuff. And obviously, we're very pumped and stoked to be here on YouTube.
All right, guys, thank you so much. It was wonderful having our first YouTube episode, and we hope you tune back in.
Let's do our bula.
All right.
All right. Bula.
Bula.